Our mission is clear: to bring to justice those responsible for the marathon bombing. The American public wants answers. The citizens of the city of Boston and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts want and deserve answers. This group of dedicated men and women standing before you today pledge to do everything possible to get those answers.
So, Michael, you've been covering the bombing investigation for us. What have you noticed? I mean, it's striking to me that the law enforcement officials are asking everyone to send in social media. It's almost social media forensics in this investigation.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. If you think about past investigations, police were always lucky to get some piece of grainy footage from a surveillance camera. But here, the bomb went off at the end of the Boston Marathon. It's what one investigator said this morning is probably the most photographed part of America yesterday. So they're asking the public to send in smartphone videos, pictures, anything they can, and it'll take, hundreds of investigator hours to look through them one by one, looking at the periphery of the shots often, to see if they can get a glimpse of anybody planting these explosive devices along the marathon route.
But really, it's a tedious process, and you said, hundreds and hundreds of hours. What really can they find? Do they expect to find the guy with the bomb? I mean, what?
There very well may be, because if you think of it, all these people are shooting their friends and neighbors and loved ones, running down the race, or people on the sideline. But you never know what's going to be in the back of the frame. And so, these were very crowded places. It's right by the finish line. It's in Copley Square, the heart of Boston. I'm sure there are tons of things that could yield clues here.
Now, on the one hand, you hear that the bombs were sort of crude, semi-crude devices. On the other hand, they both went off almost simultaneously, which shows a certain sophistication. So what's the thinking? Are these skilled people who did this, or professionals, or not?
It's hard to know, and at this stage, law enforcement is being cagey, so we're a bit like the blind man with the elephant. But from what we heard overnight from law enforcement officials were that it seemed that the devices were made of black powder and ball bearings, some combination like that. Some people were suggesting that maybe that bore hallmarks more of domestic groups than international groups, although there have been foreign-related terrorism like the Times Square car bombing, where I think black powder was used as well. So it's very hard to tell, and they don't know how they were detonated, so quickly, about 12 seconds apart. So that does suggest some coordination at the very least, if not sophistication.
So we really don't know domestic or not.
No, that's the big question. I mean, the White House said last night that clearly when you have two explosive devices going off at the same time, it's an act of terror. But they really weren't tipping their hands as to whether they had an idea of whether it was foreign or domestic.
Now, the Boston Police Commissioner said this is the most complex crime scene in the history of the city. How, besides getting all the video in and the photographs, what else are they doing? There's 28 miles to cordon off, I guess.
I mean, there's the immense marathon route itself that they have to worry about. What you saw in the hours after the blast was a lot of confusion and fear because, hundreds and thousands of people were running away from a terrorist attack. Many of them were dropping bags and backpacks along the way, and all of those had to be treated as potential explosive devices. Nobody knew what it was. I think, as the day went on, they did controlled explosions or other things to disarm things that they thought might be bombs. It turned out this morning, they were very clear. The only explosive devices that they said they found yesterday were the ones that did explode. The other things turned out not to be real bombs. But now that they've feel that they've ruled out further bombs, now they can really get down to the nitty-gritty of trying to find out who did this and how.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.